So my full name is Agripino Paul Reyes Galvez Jr. My nickname is Joey. Now, why is it Joey? That's for another session. That's going to be a long story by itself, no? Um, but I am a certified Enneagram teacher with the Enneagram Institute. So I trained with Don Rizzo and Russ Hudson of the Enneagram Institute. What I do now is I conduct Enneagram webinars and workshops with Emmaus Center for Psychospiritual Information. Also with on the third day, and I do it on my own. In fact, I recently had run a Enneagram teacher certification training last October 16 to 21, so 6 days. So that's kind of what I do for the Enneagram, and then I give retreats, basically the spiritual exercises, and I do spiritual direction. The word that came to me was devoted. Maybe about a month and a half or 2 months ago, um, I was listening to the gospel for the day. And the gospel at that time was about the father asking his two sons to work in the vineyard. And the elder son said, I don't want to go. But eventually, went. While the second son said, sure, I'm going to go, but never did. And so that kind of made me think uh, of the two sons, who was I more like? And then it just hit me that, I'm more of the first, the elder. No? Yung, I don't like to be told what to do, or especially when it intrudes into my own autonomy or things that I like to do. But eventually, all right, might as well do it. So very begrudgingly. And then I was thinking, how would God kind of see me, uh, or take it na I'm always doing things begrudgingly? Where's the joy in doing things for God when I always say I love God, I want to follow Him, I want to do His will, and yet I often find myself, you know, begrudging, begrudging, uh, and then I sat with that. No? I sat with that with the gospel, and then I think a few days later, or maybe a week later, the word, and I wasn't even thinking of. I don't know if I've received your invitation already at that time, but the word that came to me was devotion or being devoted. And I said, wow, that's something that's I've actually started to do, kind of moving away from doing things begrudgingly. No, when you wake up, oh, what am I gonna do? No, and then it's this thing again. Yeah. And then slowly moving towards being more excited, waking up and seeing that, yeah, this Enneagram work, I want to do it for the Lord. Uh, this spiritual direction, you know, you have called me to do this, and I want to do it right. I want to do, and I don't know, a kind of excitement came over me. Waking up and just being excited. And then, so I thought, oh, maybe it's one of those things that, you get excited and then you're back to, you're back to being begrudging again and that. But it kind of stayed with me. And then the next thing that came to my mind was uh, the lyrics of, I don't know if you've heard this. This was a kind of a 60s song by the Everly Brothers, Devoted to You. No? I won't sing it because, but the lyrics were kind of, darling, you can count on me till the sun rise up the sea. Until then, I'll always be devoted to you. And I don't know, for some reason, that kind of struck a chord within me. And finding that, it's just no longer this constancy or just this regularity that used to be begrudgingly. You do things, well, this is the routine. This is what, that's what you signed up for. But slowly there is that kind of, I think there's no other way to express it but to say there's this love. That's why that I think the word devotion or devoted came. And there is this, especially when the lyrics of that Everly Brothers came, no, that uh, and then sort of God's reply is, "I'll be yours through endless time." No? So it's not only me being devoted to God, but God really being devoted to me as well. And there's this kind of loving constancy that used to be begrudging. Constancy now it's this kind of regularity that's tempered and supported by love. No, yeah, kind of cheeky, but I don't know how else to express it. No, uh, so that's how it came about. I started to kind of just sit with it with nothing in mind, except thinking about, boy, I'm like the older brother, no. May pakonsuelo pa ako na, well, at least I'm doing God's will, no. But yun nga, no, very begrudgingly, and then after a while, discovering that, wow, there is this underlying love, that tempers and supports this constancy. And I really kind of feel a qualitative difference. It's not even intentional; it just comes off very naturally. So that's how it is with me until now. No, I hope I can be devoted. I think in one sense, it's opening or it's branching out towards the other areas. Uh, for example, the invitation to depend entirely on God, to truly be dependent on His divine providence. Some people ask me that, don't you um, don't you plan for the future? Like, what happens if you die? What happens if you know? And maybe I don't know. Maybe it's foolhardy that I kind of just say I don't really have anything to my name. No, and I'm really kind of just depending truly on God's providence. Probably the only possessions I have are my Enneagram books. And that's really kind of the word that, oh, if something happens to me, what to whom do I turn over the books, or what happens to my books? That probably those are the kind of attachments probably the only attachments that I have. No? In a way, I don't have to worry about, wow, what will I do? What will happen when, I'm gone? It's kind of liberating in the sense that I don't have any worries about attachments or, uh, possessions. So you can look at both ways. It can be foolhardy that you don't care for the future, but it's also kind of liberating because it frees me from worrying about the future. Yeah, I think that's where part of being devoted to God is leading me. I suppose when you pray the take and receive, no, it's I still grapple with that. What if God takes away my memory? I think that's where it's difficult, because that memory is all I have about my family, about my work, everything. No? And if God takes that away, what do I have? I really don't have anything. And so that real challenge, can I still be devoted if God takes away my memory? So that's where it's kind of leading me. In a way, it's still a big challenge, a big challenge. I think the invitation for me is to continue this devotion, this being devoted, uh, in whatever uh, in whatever invitation that might surface. No? This ability to say yes as part of being devoted to God. Uh, and there are still times when it's still begrudging. I won't deny that, but i- there is even more this this movement towards uh, that God can count on me. That whatever happens, that my love will grow. And well, I think that's where it's kind of leading me. Well, there's also this invitation to dive into being alone with God. It's something that I kind of, you know, dive into it from time to time. But I think in the long run, it's ultimately there that, that I'm being led to. Although the way I see it, parang mukhang malayo pa yon, no? But I get some glimpse, I get a glimpse, I get a taste of it. Uh, when especially when you don't expect it, it kind of hits you, and then you get a sense of that. No? Uh, and it can get to be scary at times. But I am devoted. So yeah, my Facebook account is Enneagramps. So if people would like to follow anything about the Enneagram, you can just uh, you know check that out. And right now there are no scheduled workshops and webinars both with Emmaus and on the third day. But what's coming up is offering a second run of the Enneagram Teacher Certification Training Part 1 this February next year, February 11 to 16. So this is for people, even if you have not taken up the Enneagram, but you're really seriously thinking of, uh, knowing the Enneagram, even just for yourself, and you're interested in, wanting to share that to others also. So I think that's as far as what's in store in the near future.